My school days was in Albion, Idaho, to begin with. I went to Albion Elementary, and at that time, they had the college, and it was a teacher's college where we had a homeroom teacher, and then those learning to be teachers would be our teachers under the homeroom teacher. Well, when I was in kindergarten, and my niece Carol, who was a month younger than me, started school in Burley and then moved to Albion. And she was able to be in the first grade, and I thought that was terrible. She was in the first grade, I was in kindergarten, and I was older. And anyway, we were in the same classroom as Mrs. Berg was our homeroom teacher. And it was Mrs. Berg that would make us come down the stairs, line up, everyone, and take a tablespoon of cod liver oil from the very same spoon everyone else had taken cod liver oil from. Well, Carol said, "I'm not going to do this. Let's run." And I said, okay. So we got out of line, ran up the stairs, and ran outside. Mrs. Berg, B-U-R-G, was not going to have anything to do with that. She ran after us. My brothers were down on the lawn by their school, along the side of the sidewalk where we were running, and they started yelling, "Run, Carol! Run, Della! Run, run!" Well, we did, but Mrs. Berg still could run faster, and she caught us. So she took us up, and on her stairs, before going up into her room, she paddled our bottom in front of everyone. And then she took us into her room. She lived above the school classroom. She took us up there, and she said, "All right, you sit in these chairs until school is over." Well, kids at that age are not going to sit 3 hours in a chair while school is over. So we snooped through her room and found a box of chocolates. And we ate the whole box of chocolates. And I'm not too crazy about chocolate anymore, because we were sick after that. And we got another spanking. And one day, Carol and I ran through the sprinklers before we came into the classroom. And we got another spanking. I think I got more spankings from Mrs. Berg than anyone I ever knew. But she was funny. But I liked school other than the way she spanked us all the time. As I grew older, my favorite subjects in school became math and English. And when I got in high school, well, back in middle school, about that time, they closed the college down. And the high school kids had to go down to Declo, which were a rival school for us. And that was hard at first. But the elementary stayed at Albion, and the middle school stayed at Albion. And Mrs. Weisel, who taught college, or did before it closed, became our teacher. And she was very strict. But I liked her. She was strict, but she was kind. And I really learned to love English and thesbians from her. And then I went down to Declo and had fun teachers and good teachers. But the Albion kids felt, we're not learning as much as Mrs. Weisel taught us. So we wrote her a letter and said, please come and teach at Declo. So she did. And especially in our English class, she would have us sit in a U shape in the class. And depending on what kind of a grade you got is where you sat. So you started on the U shape and you got the best grade there. And as you got at the end of the U, that was the lower grades. And the Declo kids had fun teachers, but they had not learned very much about their English, which I don't know anymore. But anyway, she'd have them sit. They usually got to sit at the end of the U. And we thought we were pretty smart, the Albion kids. And she started a thesbian group down there. And I really liked thesbian. I hated to get in front of people and talk. But when I was playing a character, then I liked to be in a play and play that character. And I loved thesbian, and I didn't mind. I extemporaneous speaking, I was able to get second in the state in that. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. But I hate to get in front of people and talk now. So don't ever ask me to do that. But anyway, she became my favorite teacher. In my years at Declo, it was fun too. I met Gary Blake, who I started to date, and Dell always came along on all of our dates. And Gary and I seemed to fight a little bit all the time. And so then I would spend the whole rest of the evening talking with Dell. And Gary was a year older than Dell, so when he went off to college, I asked Dell to the Sadie Hawkins dance. And we went together from then on. But before then, it was the three of us. And in high school, I was over one of the refreshments for one of the dances. And this is when I was going with Dell. And we were assigned to make the punch. So Dell brought a big milk can. He says, let's make it in here, because we had quite a few that we would have to serve. So we put all of the ingredients in the milk can, and then we said, how do we stir this? Well, Dell saw a broom. He went over and got the broom, turned it upside down, and stirred the punch. Well, none of us would drink that punch, but people at the dance said it's the best punch ever. We never did tell them it was stirred with a broom. So we would sit and laugh.